Hello, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful episode of the Pineapple Podcast. Today, I have Lesley Maidens. Lesley is a young lady that started her journey in real estate from what do I do, and today she's actually a land developer. So, how cool is that? So, once again, folks, remember that hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the notification button because here at the Pineapple Podcast, it's all about being tough on the outside and sweet on the inside. Lesley, welcome to the Pineapple Podcast. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Mitch, thanks for having me here.
Oh, most welcome. You are most welcome. So, Lesley, today we're going to actually be able to talk about Lesley and her journey into the real estate because you've been working in real estate probably about 2 years now, just over 2 years, correct?
Yeah, yeah, 2 years.
Nice. Now, I've had the privilege to actually work with Lesley and see her journey evolve from a single mom that's trying to manage a day job, take care of the family, figure out the future. And today I'm proud to say that, she calls herself a land developer because she's actually doing that. And we'll get to that story. But, I'd like to know about Lesley before she came into the decision of, I want to do real estate. Don't know what it looks like, but tell us about, your everyday life. You're chasing the job, you're making sure your family is there. What was Lesley like back then?
Leslie lived in fear of losing her job.
Ah,
I've never lost one, but it was a core part of my day. They had a couple of sweep throughs where they did take a good number of people from the company and let them go. That terrified me because without my job, how was I going to feed my kids? How was I going to keep my home? Um, and I, what I'm doing now with the real estate investing and the private lending and now into the land developing has been a complete game changer.
and I want to hold it there because look, you've said something that all of us live when we're in that sort of corporate world, and it doesn't mean you quitting your job. It just means that in reality we're all fearful of that job loss because it means that there's no income and there's a
Yeah,
level of uncertainty, right? And you don't know how long it'll take you to get another job, right? And would you like the environment? So that plays off a lot in people's minds, right? But
exactly.
what I do like is the initiative that you've taken where you said you've recognized your fears, and it's a real legitimate fear we all have. But then, you kind of embraced the decision that you want to go into the real estate world, but you knew you were not going to do it on your own.
Mhm. Well, and it also it's a part of not liking getting out of my comfort zone because the thought of losing my job and finding another job, I was just always someone that needed to be in that comfort zone. So when I decided to take the 3-day course with Keyspire and then join Keyspire, the change that it made in my world was incredible. I got connected with an amazing coach named Mitch.
Thank you for that.
And yeah, like
Mm.
a big part of it for me was that mindset, was learning to get out of my comfort zone and believe in myself and know that I can do it. There's so many people in that amazing community that are all doing it. Everybody is supportive of one another. The best thing I ever heard was, you can't compete with me because I want you to win too. And that's really the whole thing
Yes.
behind that group. And
Yeah. You know what? I love the fact that you're sharing that because
mhm,
in retrospect, people are at different levels in their journey, right? And you coming on, you knew what you wanted. But before you got into the let me learn how to buy, let me learn how to sell, let me learn how to lend or whatever, you really had to overcome yourself. You had to learn about what can Lesley do? Can she take the chances? Can she sign those contracts to
mhm,
say, I'm giving you my hard-earned money for you to give me back with some interest, right?
yeah.
Can I buy a house? Can I not buy a house? Because when the decision hits you, it becomes real, and sometimes it's you're realizing, man, I'm going to spend like $500,000 or $1 million, right?
Mhm.
And if you've never done that, oh my God, the heart is like that, and you're sweating, and suddenly it's like, what do I do, right?
For sure, it's scary. And I was a saver my whole life. I was all about knocking down my mortgage and paying down my debt. And
Yeah.
now I've got a home equity line of credit. I've got every amount of money I can get my hands on now. And all that was so much about getting my head wrapped around the fact that this is how you can do it if you put your mind to it.
Absolutely. So that is brilliant sharing because you
Mhm.
know what I love with what you're doing here is you're relating it to everyday people that are that are going through that same sort of hurdle. You know, it's like I know I need to overcome it,
Yeah.
and getting rid of that fear, going past the barrier that's mental barrier that we all create in our own minds. It's not easy to overcome, and you really need a support system to make it
Yeah.
work for you, right? So,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
exactly.
And you need it from people that have been there and have done it and truly know it.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the important thing because a lot of people also talk about, I don't talk to my closest friends or family about my new journey into real estate because I'm just fearful that they're going to shoot me down. Or
Mhm.
sometimes they talk to them and they are shut down because while the people around you have a vested interest to say, hey, you know what? I don't think you should do this because it might fail. It's because they've never done it themselves. So they have no reference files or experience to say, hey, you know what? Maybe this is what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you find somebody that has been there, that is doing it, that understands where your journey is taking you, right?
Mhm.
Then suddenly they're holding your hand and pulling you along and say, hey, you know what? Let's go do this, right? Like, yeah, it's fine. Just, spend the money, tie up the property, lend it out because you'll get back 10%, 12%, whatever that is, or do the land development cost because it's going to add value to you.
It
The
adds
other thing I
value to
like,
me.
yeah, the other thing I like is the community. Like you say, you joined a community. You didn't just go into real estate. Anybody can go buy a house or two and that's it. When you're in the power of a community, and this is why, join a community because now you're getting energy and resources from everybody else. And your mind is opening up to strategies that you thought was only available for the big guys. And now you realize the big guys are too big to compete with you. The single home investor is just at a level where they're in that space. But when you pool together with people, you can do amazing things that's not too big to compete with the other people, but bigger than the residential side so that you can balance it off. And while you're making the decisions, you private lend, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the great thing is there's lots of real estate out there. So you rarely find yourself necessarily competing with people, but it is competing with yourself and that fear, that fear.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? You've really captured it right.
Mhm.
The first challenge or battle is with ourselves. Like
Yes,
we see the blocks, we see the problems, we decide if to move forward or not. And when you're around people, you think that they're seeing that too, but only to realize, well, they're not. It's whatever I put out of my mouth or my emotions and my body language.
for
That's
sure.
what
Your
people pick
energy,
up.
your energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what people pick up.
Yeah. And even when you get to, like, I think at one point I was at a point where I knew I could do it, like logically, there's so many people doing it. Why couldn't I do it? But it was that fear. That's when I picked up the phone and called you that time and like was desperate. Can you please help me here? Because I know all this. I do know it because I've heard it and I've told myself it, but I needed so much help just to get over that hump where I was telling myself I could believe it and I really needed to believe it. And
Yes.
that's, again, it's the support of the community, it's the support of a coach, of a friend that is in the know, not my brother, not my boss, not the people that are throwing out all those, but what ifs,
Right.
right? It's the
Yeah.
people like you going, but what if it does this? And what if it does this? Because that's what it should do if you do your numbers and you do your due diligence, right?
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
right. That is 100% accurate. I'm actually loving this conversation because, you talk about the fact that I know what I need to do, but yet I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Bob Proctor, bless his soul, um, he's a big advocate on, well, why are people, they know what they have to do, yet they can't do what they know they have to do? And it's because there's a mental block inside there. Your subconscious is just not allowing you to push forward because you truly do not believe in what you know.
Yes. And
But
when you do take that first step and then you see it come to fruition, and I will say, I
yes,
had trouble at that point. So I elected to um, do it with a partner. I
yes,
joined up with a working partner.
that's right.
And that was again pivotal because now at least I was taking action, which was so important to actually getting myself to buy into myself. And then I learned so much in the process that when I did my second deal, I was amazed. I was like, wow, I know everything they're going to need. So I had it all ready to go. It was a much smoother process. And
Yes.
the amount you learn, then
Right.
by learning, you gain so much more confidence.
That's
Yeah.
that's exactly that's the formula for success right there, Lesley.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
let's
But
let's reframe that and let's rephrase it in a sense that I want people to understand it because I don't
okay.
want them to miss this point. I wasn't sure what I'm going to do, but I know I'm doing something.
Mhm.
I'm hitting the terror barrier, meaning that I know what I need to do, but I just can't seem to do it. So you found people around you that can help you and you partner up with them because they're probably in the same situation. They need a partner.
Yeah.
Real estate is not about yourself. You cannot do real estate on your own in any significance,
No.
but in a community, game changer, right? And that's what Michael and Scott has brought for us as everyday folks, right?
Yeah.
And I give them credit for that because it's been truly amazing. And this is the game changer. This allowed you now to pivot. Now you're starting to build that confidence. Now you're
Yeah.
seeing, hey, I'm actually walking hand in hand with somebody else that's doing it. They
Yeah.
have the experience. If I have doubt, I can fall back on my coach and he can help me figure out the mindset or a new game changing plan. Because, part of my journey as well is essentially I'm helping you build a business. So you have business consultation, you have mindset consultation, you have real estate experience. This is sort of the umbrella under which we operate in order to help people come alive and to do the things that they want to do so that they can hit their financial freedom, right?
For sure. And if you need to invest in those things in order to get to the greater good and the greater wealth, it's absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I had friends saying to me, but why would you do that? You're taking all of the risk and you're sharing the profits. And I said, I'm sharing profits that I would not have gotten had I not done it. And they are doing a lot of the work. Those working partners, and I did a post at one point, they deserve so much more credit than they get.
You know what? Let's stay on that a little bit because I actually had some conversations around that. And the fact that you're sharing this is
Mhm.
absolutely brilliant because the working partner really brings everything together and they
Oh,
work
yeah.
they work really hard.
Mhm.
Let's face it, the things that they can do, the financial partner can't even dream to do because they just don't have the experience, the team, the knowledge. Yet they have the opportunity to really put value against their money, meaning
Yeah.
that you're hitting a guaranteed interest rates in most cases
Mhm.
that the banks will never even dream to tell you or give you or
Right.
suggest to you that you can make that kind of money, right?
Mhm.
So they do find the right deals before they present one deal for you. And I'm doing this because I also actively go after properties and stuff. Before I bring one deal to my members or my investors, I probably go through 25 to 30 deals. Think about the amount of time
Yeah.
alone in that deal, right?
Mhm.
And then when you do get the deal, you go through the analytics, you make sure it's vetted, you check all of the comparables against actuals, you make sure that the deal is ready to go and that you know that there's an exit strategy that's going to make you win. Then I come to Lesley and say, hey, Lesley, check out this beautiful deal. You just have to say yay or nay.
And I'd say yay, but I'm broke again.
The challenge of being a real estate investor is you're
Yeah.
always broke. Money is everywhere, but
Just none in my pocket.
no cash. That's right.
But when I do those projections of 2 years and 5 years down the road, those look sweet. Those look sweet.
Yeah, like I was going through a session, a video session with Grant Cardone, and he actually said that I'm worth billions of dollars in real estate. Man, I'm always broke. because the money is deployed, the money is working for you. Money in the bank does nobody any good. In
Exactly.
fact, one thing I'll share with our viewers as well is right now, interest rates is going up, inflation is going up. So if you have the, you talked about it in the old days, it was save, save, save.
Yep.
Every dollar you save in that bank, let's say you were sitting on $100,000,
Mhm.
you are now worth maybe $80,000 in
Yes.
buying power. So money in the bank actually loses value. It's the
Mhm.
worst investment you can do, even though mentally it's the greatest thing you can do from a mental perspective, because
Mhm.
you're fighting the fear of no money means that I may be on the road, I may not be able to live. And you've heard stories of people living in cars, right?
Yep.
So that fear, once you can overcome that fear, remember that that money is invested in a project, in a land development deal,
An
or
asset.
multifamily group.
Yep.
It's worth easily 110, 112,000.
Yep. Yeah.
So you see, this is how you fight inflation. You put your money in an asset that produces income on value, which is what real estate is about,
Yep.
so that it increases as inflation increases versus cash in the bank, it goes this way,
Goes down.
right? So,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. I used to not like the thought of debt. And now, because at some point I'll have to bring back the loans that I have out and have them in my HELOC to look good, right, for a few months. And
Yes.
that's gonna drive me nuts when that money's sitting in that home equity line of credit available and I've got to leave it there. Yeah, it's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different mindset. And I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you're sharing that because yeah. And what's the other thing that I want people to get out of this conversation is you can have a diversified strategy where you're lending money and you're also the investor.
yeah,
So you can put your money into different projects to work. Because when you're buying or acquiring property or land deals, it takes a while to realize the full value of a deal or to get it done, get it completed, to get it improved. And you can't be working on five, six, seven different deals because you'll just be stretched.
mhm,
So while one is being done, you have this money sitting, as you rightly said, sitting in the bank doing nothing. Put it to work, right? You just need to create the right network of investors around you or working partners, as you say. Find them, because once you do, you can start working with them on a continuous basis, so that
exactly.
you can move the business, you can develop things.
Mhm.
And I've seen it firsthand where I've brought in people as well, and they've been so happy with what their projects have become, what the returns are, because they are also participating to develop themselves.
For sure. And those returns are so much better than you would get or that I was ever getting in a mutual fund. So much better.
Absolutely, especially now. Everybody right now, it's like, oh my God, my stocks are down, my mutual funds is down. I want to cash it, but it's down 10,000, 7,000. What do I do, right? Do I
Yeah.
wait? Well, it's a tough decision because you can realize that loss. But what I tell people is, okay, if you have a future opportunity or an opportunity right now,
Mhm.
how much is it going to pay you back, and does that cover the realized loss, right?
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes people don't think about that, but if you could recover and then make more money, then you know what to do. And if
And it makes
it
sense.
doesn't, well, then you know what to do.
Hmm. And I want to go back because you were also talking when we were mentioning the working partners, how
Yes.
important a team is.
Hmm.
A team. I can't tell you how many times that was what would stop me from being able to take that step forward because I didn't have a team. Everybody's out there going, you need the right team, you need the right team. Well, how the heck do I find this team? How do I vet these people? How do I do it?
Right.
That's the other thing that those working partners do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the critical component, because every company, every organization, every person that's in business, you really need to have the right people around you to move things forward. The contractor needs to know that you can build and that he can save you money and that he knows how to construct, because if you put the wrong person there, it could cost you time and it could cost you money, and then you have to redo the work. So references are critical.
Yep.
You've got to network with people in order to know who's doing what. And you know what? Go check them out. Go see the job that they're doing.
Yeah.
It takes a little time, but better you spend the time in your planning and your due diligence
Yes,
than you try to recover from execution.
for sure.
That's right. Because
Mhm.
I'm a big believer. Let's plan. Let's spend more time in planning
Yeah.
because the execution moves quickly once you're planned out properly.
Yes. Yeah. Measure twice, cut once.
There you go. The carpenter's rule, right? So now, Leslie, it's we've talked about the private lending, the team building, bringing your mindset into place. But what I want to do is let's talk about the fact that you've been able, as you say, to establish your team and you started working with people and you were gaining lots of experience. You're seeing firsthand how it's being done.
Mhm.
And now you've decided that, one of the strategies that's really piqued your interest and you wanted to explore was land, right? Like, taking land and developing land. And so, as like I say, you're from the everyday worker to a land developer. That is no small measure of accomplishment. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But I also want to explore that with you. I want to understand, like, first of all, why was land so interesting to you? And then what was the team that you created around it? And what are you doing with that sort of strategy right now?
Well, I started when I first started doing real estate investing. I feel like it was right when COVID hit. All of a sudden, nobody could have predicted, but the real estate market went insane. And I always thought flips were a sexy thing, but I feel like I missed the boat on those. So I did a couple of other strategies, like I did the
Right.
rent to own in Manitoba, and I did the duplex with my partner in Moncton.
Right.
I started seeing and hearing a little more about land development, and because we need housing so badly, I
Yes.
started thinking, this seems like it's something that people need. It seems like something I can make money from. Michael did a fantastic coffee with Michael and talked about the lifts involved with the different stages of land development. And that almost seemed like a flip to me, because you don't necessarily have to build.
That's
You get
right.
to just take a few properties, assemble them for higher density, rezone, and sell to a builder. So I got involved with a group of people, other investors, and we started looking at two properties that were being sold as a parcel in Calgary.
Right.
And we decided, you know what, let's just throw an offer in and see what happens. So we did.
Yeah.
And then the coolest thing was we then, on our very first Zoom call,
Yeah.
started looking at the properties from a Google map. And
Right.
we realized that there were two more properties
Ah,
beside it, and then a main road. And
okay.
so we thought, why don't we actually put into place the knocking on the door strategy that I'd never have imagined that we would do. And we knocked on the door, got the realtor anyway, to knock on the door of the neighboring property. And he was willing to sell. So we got that property under contract. And then we said, hey, let's do the same thing. And we got the final property under contract. So now we had these four properties, and we've just taken it from there. We reached out to the city councillor in the area. He said it's a heavy, heavy push for developing that area. There's all kinds of things going on, all kinds of precedents set already. So yeah, it's just kind of full steam ahead now. We have a pre-application into the city. We've been told that we should actually be able to go from 17 stories, which was initially going to be 4 stories, now has gone to 17, and now we're being told potentially getting approved for 25 stories, which is a floor area ratio of 8, I believe, as opposed to 5.
So let me get this straight. So I love this journey because again, you've made it real for people who would love to get into the space.
Mhm.
We assembled a group of investors that loves land development.
Yeah.
We saw an ad for a land assembly on 2 lots, and we said, let's give it a try. So you went it, you made the offer and you got it.
Yeah.
Then you realize that there's more opportunity with the neighboring land, and you tried that, you got that. So now you're really excited, like this is moving ahead now, right? And that's the beauty with when you go into a strategy the first time around. There's so much excitement. Like,
Mhm.
we say, yeah, do it the first time or the second time. You get the experience and then you're the professional. But let's enjoy the first time too, right? Because it's so much
Absolutely.
learning and excitement and nervousness that it really makes you feel like you're alive, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you were able to think that we could do four floors, a
Mhm.
four floor mid-rise building.
Mhm.
Then you realize when you started to talk with the rest of the team that the city is allowing you to do 17 floors, you said?
Yes.
17 floors. And then you went back for consultation. And what did they tell you now? Based on density, we think you can go up to how many?
25.
25 floors.
Yeah. 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 And that was them that suggested it. We were just looking at the 17 stories.
Yeah,
And this is the company that we've hired to deal with the city in the pre-application process. So they've got a lot of experience with this. And it was them that said, we think no guarantees, but we think we might be able to even go to the floor area ratio of 8 or FAR 8. So we said, okay, well, let's try it. So
right,
that's what we're at now. I mean, we worked our numbers on 17 stories and they were good. They were
right.
great. So if we're able to go to 25 stories, they're even better. So,
Beautiful.
and it has been exciting. And there have been hurdles. We've created a GPLP structure in order to run the project.
Right.
And that was, boy, what a learning process. I think that was the biggest amount of time that we spent for about 3 or 4 weeks was just sorting that out. And it was phone call after phone call. We sunk so much time into our evenings talking about this and strategizing and like looking at one company versus another. And yeah, it's the learning, the excitement has been like, I get excited just thinking and talking about it. I've got it up in my little cubicle in my office. I have the vision of the 25 stories with it's like a tiered bottom 3 floors,
Yeah, yeah.
commercial in the bottom, residential upstairs, beautiful building. We're not building it. I don't want to build it. We're not building it. We're going to sell
Yep,
it to a builder.
that's right. That's right. All the risk is in building.
Yeah.
Hmm. So again, I love the way you're unpacking this. So you see, once you get into the ownership of it, then you can really realize even greater opportunities because when you start having the actual conversations, the deals, and this is what I tell a lot of people too. It's like let's get the property,
Yeah.
because you never know what the true potential is until you start bringing the experts. And when they see that you're serious, that you're tied up, that you're moving ahead, that's when they become excited too, and then they really want to get moving ahead as well.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's an incredible journey. And I mean, I'm really happy to see where you're taking your business, and I love the fact that you realize you're going to do the assembly, you're going to get everything ready because builders love building. They don't like spending time
No.
working with the city and getting things approved. I mean, it just drains their time, right? They are set up
Yeah.
to come in, to build, and to get out. That's what the team is. So
Mhm.
your team is about finding the assembly, bringing it together, figuring out with the city what's the best use of the land, and
Mhm.
then you flip it over to those teams. And
Yeah.
this is what the structure is about. That's why we talk about 3 tier, 4 tier, 5 tier systems, because
Mhm.
everybody can specialize in a certain area that allows you to be efficient and at the
Yeah.
same time to be profitable.
Yeah. And in this case, this is why I say it's kind of like a flip because we're not building, so it's not a 5-year project. It's not
Right.
6 year going to be extended to 7 years. It's ideally done within 12 to 15 months, which is a little longer than a residential flip, but I think the payout might be better. So,
Yeah,
and the other thing that comes of this is, you know what I have now? I have my team, right? Now I
that's
have my team. Now I have the guys that I need so that when we find something else, we know who to call.
That's exactly it. So I love where you've taken your business. I mean, I'm really excited to come back 12 months from today and actually see where that development is, and and where you're going with that as well. So
Well,
I
you know
think
what? The other thing I will say is I would not be here if you had not gotten me past those initial hurdles that I had in here. So
well,
thank you. Thank
well,
you so much.
you are most welcome, Lesley, and thank you for that. I really love when I work with people and I see them evolve into bigger things than even they thought possible, because they've realized there are no more limitations for you. You can make things happen, and you're a perfect example and demonstration of that as well. So I love it, absolutely love it. So again, you've heard it at the Pineapple Podcast here, Lesley. You've basically moved yourself from mind frame of just being fearful of losing a job. Today you are keeping your job because you love your job.
Mhm.
But if your job was to disappear tomorrow, you'd be okay. And maybe you could frame that in for us. Let us understand how your thinking is about that now.
If I were to lose my job, then I would devote more time to this.
There you go.
It's just
Well,
that currently my job works well for me in my world right now. My teenagers are still at home. So I can't be flying all over the place like I hope to be in a few years when I'm developing
that's
land
right.
all over the place.
But the fear of losing that job is gone.
Done.
That is,
Done.
believe me, that holds people in their job, and a lot of people live in frustration of their job too. Not everybody loves their job. Let's be real here. And not
Yeah.
everybody feels that even though they love it, they are limited based on their income.
Yes.
And the fear is always losing that income, because people need a life to they need that money coming in. And the fact that you've said, I'm not afraid anymore, that's
Mhm.
huge. That is huge. And
Yeah.
that's what I want people to realize, is that you can overcome that big fear in our lives.
You can. It's not to say that it wouldn't throw me for a loop. If I walked into my office tomorrow, Tuesday, and they said, you're gone, what I have learned is that I now know how to pivot. So it's not going to knock me down. It's going to knock me off my current path, but I know that the next path I will make a better one.
That's for sure. And that's what I like. It's really a mindset shift. And I think
Mhm.
that's where the power comes. We'll still feel the emotions of that loss.
Sure.
We'll still think about, okay, my God, this is real. So, you're going to feel the fear anyways,
Mhm.
but it's what you do, right? It's what you do after that. What do you do? You know, um, it's your reaction that determines the outcome for
Yeah.
yourself.
And that comes from the strength I have up here now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it is. So again, Lesley, I want to thank you so much for being a guest here today and sharing your story. I think you've given us so much information today that people who can listen to this and want to take that stepping stone. I think you've given a great insight in terms of your story.
I hope so. I hope so. There's people out there who might be like I was and have those fears, and you can get past those. You need sometimes a little hand holding, but it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I wanna basically tell you that you are definitely a pineapple. You're tough on the outside, you're sweet on the inside, and you wear your pride proudly. So
Thank you. I've got the best life.
absolutely. So again, thank you, and folks, again, check this out. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button here at the Pineapple Podcast, because we're growing our subscription base as we continue to sort of build out further. So any last words, Lesley, as we say goodbye?
No, you know what? I just want to say again that it's really important to lean on your community, the one that we've built. We've all built it. And even if you're new, lean on that community, reach out to somebody to help you. People love talking about this. We love talking about real estate. So if you've hit a wall, or if you have fears, or even if you just want to talk to somebody, reach out to Mitch, reach out to me, reach out to anybody in the community. They're happy to help you. Because
Thank
you
you
know
so
what, you
much.
can do it. You can do it.
That's exactly right. And folks, I will put Leslie's contact information in the comments down below so that you can get that information. And once again, this is Mitch at the Pineapple Podcast, wishing you great successes in your journey towards financial freedom. Take care.